focus of my work during the 1980s was interconnecting people, interconnecting things. And we had a situation where the networks at that time were for individual purposes, an individual science, an individual organization. And they were not really connected together. You would be connected to a specific network. What I did was to create an open interconnect point where everyone could come and connect to us and then to each other. And it was really the first time that there had been an open, anybody could use it, interconnect point for the internet. In fact, in some ways, it's putting the inter into the internet because those networks were suddenly able to talk to one another. I think my history with the internet goes back to 1968, when I first began using node number 13 octal or 11 on the internet. The 11th node on the internet was a case where I was a student, and it had me hooked. I could go and communicate with anyone. And in fact, only a year later, I was having a sort of a long-distance relationship with a woman who was working at SRI across the country. And that's when I realized there's something magic about this technology. Here I am, I haven't even met this woman, and yet we have exchanged information in such a way that I have some feelings for her and she for me. Now, we never did meet, and I've met another wonderful woman who is my wife, but that was a moment that I saw that this network, this internet thing, could really change what happens. Another thing that happened is in 1982, I was appointed the Chief Information Officer on the academic side at the University of Maryland, College Park. I had a mainframe. I didn't want a mainframe because the mainframes at that time were going extinct and smaller computers were being put into departments all across campus. So if I was in charge of a dying mainframe, what could I do? And the answer was, well, remember this ARPANET thing, this TCP/IP thing that could connect to any of the computers on campus. I would go and connect to all of them. So I used my honeymoon on campus to make the first campus to interconnect itself with TCP/IP. I want to thank Walt Gilbert for the idea behind that, but it was a successful idea. In 1982, 1983, the University of Maryland became the first campus that was interconnected using the TCP/IP, what we call today the Internet protocols. And that was a real watershed. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a mistake, because it turned out that the journalism department didn't really have a lot to say to chemical engineering. And the business school didn't really have that much to say to the School of Mathematics. So in some ways it was a success catastrophe. Technically it all worked, but people didn't want to use it all that much. When I realized that the real benefit of this technology would have to be to connect people at my institution with their compatriots at other institutions. So get the physicists to talk to other physicists, get the journalism people to talk to other journalism people, business school to business school. I had to go and rope in some other universities before this would be successful at my university. So ended up starting what was called SURANET, Southeastern Universities Research Association Network. And I got universities in 13 other states to go make the same mistake I had made and connect their campuses up with this TCP/IP protocol. And then magic things began to happen because people could talk with their discipline cross-campus, they could share preprints, they could begin to work on collaborative research together. Magic things began to happen. So that was another magic time and a magic date. I've benefited from the internet as much as anybody. I've gotten to play with the new things. I've gotten to help imagine things and then see them happen. And then, even more rewarding, is I get to see what other people have done with them, which is not the same thing I would necessarily do with them. And it's seeing that diversity of, oh my, I never realized that this could also be used for that. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Isn't that great that other folks can be creative and make things happen because of what the internet has done? And today we have tens of thousands of apps in the app stores. We've got folks using the internet for all kinds of communications, more than I can possibly keep track of. In fact, now and then I worry if people are going to live in the internet as opposed to the real world. But that's okay, as long as people have the choice of how they balance that out. It's going to make a real difference in people's lives and in my life to see what happens when people use it.